what's going on, and also like who to kind of talk to. So he's looking around like kind of expectantly, like he's expecting an answer to an unspoken question. So I'll let one of you four decide who's going to speak.
Basically, short answer, because Rena's dealt with Vulcans her entire life, is they're subspace rifts and they're floating around. Uh, yeah, people have to watch extra vigilantly because we don't know when they might end up attacking another person.
When you say that last part, he perks a brow and says, "These subspace eddies are attacking people, Lieutenant."
Yes.
Interesting. We will definitely have to scan them and understand if this is a sentient attack or merely a just happened to wander into this situation unawares of the individuals present. And he looks around to the three cadets. So that'd be Dorton, Corvinus, and Carava, and he says, "Are any of you security?
Yes, sir. Crava says.
Um, I would like you to assist me. I would like you to um, take these two officers," and he gestures to the two that are standing beside him. And he says, "I want you to go to outside of the hospital. Make sure that nobody who is below the rank of lieutenant commander gets in this hospital. Is that understood?"
So right away.
He nods as you and the two ensigns head out. And he stands there and looks to Lieutenant Runa, Corvinus, and Dorton. And he specifically looks to Dorton. He says, "What is your specialty, cadet?"
Psychiatry.
Uh, so you came here to assist with our fellow cadets and instructors' mental state. Is that the case, cadet?
Yes. And I must say it's quite. Some of them are quite distressed, or were. They have laid down now.
He looks over to the three that are lying down and nods and says, "Yes, I suppose, Lieutenant Runa and Cadet Dorton, if you would give me a hand, we will move their bodies, or sorry, not their bodies." He says, "We will move them because they're still alive down the corridor."
That sounds like a good idea. We should get them away from the danger so they don't get further hurt.
All right, so as he moves towards the Vulcan cadet lying
Um,
down, sorry, go ahead.
Lieutenant Runa says, we didn't move him just in case the Yetis were near them.
When you say that, he stops and looks around. He says, "You haven't been able to detect them yet?"
No, that's what we've been trying to figure out how to detect them.
He says, "Does anyone here have any engineering ability?" I'm guessing that's a no. Well,
Is that a meta question or the
well,
instructors
no,
here
yeah,
are?
he's asking them specifically. However,
Uh,
your character. Let's jump to that real quick. Let's jump to your
Sorry,
character.
I know I'm speaking out of order. I was
Ah, you're
just
good. Because we do gotta, and I can't. I don't know what Dax was doing last time, so I'm just gonna say Dax, kind of gets shuffled away in the evacuation. Um, so for those of you, by the way, who are in the subspace layer, you will not change pages on roll 20 with the rest of us. You are going to remain only seeing what you are currently seeing, which is either the corridor or the sick bay. I've basically put each person on a different page. The rest of you who are able who are in reality, so to speak, will be able to see everything else. So Karava exits the hospital to kind of do her cordoning of security. And Sevik, if I'm looking at your token, you are still roughly near the landed shuttle. What are you doing?
At that moment, as the instructor Karava leaves the academy hospital, Sefike calls to her, instructor.
Well, Karava's a cadet, so
When I mean, sorry,
now you're good.
Karava. Sorry, it was Karava who left. Cadet Karava, what is the situation? What can you inform us of the situation at this time?
A couple of people have been affected by subspace eddies. I don't know what that is. I'm not too sure what that is, to be honest. But it looks pretty bad. It's kind of similar to what happened in the lecture the other day with our instructor who's in that comatose state at the moment. And Z's in there as well. So it's not good. It's not good. But what? Oh, continue.
Has any instructor has anyone inside given us further instructions?
Yeah, just we have to I'm making sure that no one enters because yeah, there could be some dangerous stuff happening in there. So I'm just cordoning off the area, making sure no one goes in there. Anyway, what yeah.
Well, while that may be the case, what are we doing? What are we doing as far as ensure? What is being done to ensure that the danger does not spread from the hospital? I see. Although you have established the security cordon, I understanding that there is. I have not heard from you that there is no risk of further incidents. It is based on this. It is possible that we may have to lock down additional things such as EPS conduits.
Potentially, we'll have potentially might have to do that, but can't really do that without the head of security. Head of security ordered me saying no one above lieutenant, no one below lieutenant colonel, lieutenant commander can enter the building. So unless he gives the go ahead, I can't let anybody in.
So as you say that, Mr. Scon contacts you, specifically you, over the communicator, and oh, by the way, before that happens, Durlock, is Science Cadet Samson out there? What is he doing? He's been out as he was outside in the courtyard. He's obviously noticed that a lot of people are being evacuated. So he's what would he do as he notices that his comrades are over by this shuttle that's landed by the hospital, and there's a cordon, there's a quarantine, there's a bunch of people being, like I said, evacuated. What does he do?
If he notices that there's some sort of emergency going on, like people being evacuated, he would report to the first instructor he sees.
Okay. Well, conveniently, the first person that he sees who's not dealing with other cadets is probably the instructor or the assistant instructor who's an ensign who was teaching or instructing Sevik on how to fly a shuttlecraft. So you could easily meander over to him and kind of get your orders from him. Let's see.
Okay, I would say I noticed there's an emergency. I'm here to help.
Ensign Zito looks over to you and then looks over to Sevik, who has just, been speaking with Karava, and he says, "At the moment, we're unsure if we are going to be asked to help or just simply leave the premises." And as he says that, that is when Commander Scon contacts Karava and says, Commander Scon to Cadet Karava. I believe Ensign Zito is out there with at least one cadet. I would like you to allow them to enter the hospital to help us with this engineering problem.
Acknowledge it, and she'll just bring the two over. I think one's already there, so she'll bring the other one over, and she'll just say, you've been requested to enter to assist with the matters going on.
All right. So Ensign Zito turns to Cadet Samson and says, "We could always use another scientist in a situation like this if you want to come and help."
Under
All right. So
understood.
the three of you pass Cadet Karaba into the corridor and walk the length of the corridor till you reach Commander Scon. Get you guys. Don't need that one. Actually, we do need one. So I'm gonna say that one of these is Durlock's character and one of them is Sevik, Chortle's character. And let me find the instructor who entered. All right, there he is. So you guys enter, and Commander Scon looks, and looks around at those of you who are there, and he says, "Does anyone here have any decent engineering ability?" And I know, Karava, you said you did too, but I'm trying not to metagame too much anyway. What about Chortles? Or Sevik, sorry.
Could she mention to just in case? She'll mention to the she'll mention to commanding officer. If you need any assistance with engineering, I am monitoring in.
He'll think
Likewise.
he'll think he'll think on it for a second, and he says, "Okay, you're right. We need all the help we can get. Leave the two ensign security officers at the door and return." And he looks to Karava and he says, well, he looks at Lieutenant Runa first and he says, "What about your engineering skill? Is it as good as your science ability, or?"
I might need some help with trying to remodify this tricorder to detect
Detect the subspace
the
eddies.
space. Yeah, detect the Yetis.
All right. He says he looks over between Lieutenant Runa and Cadet Karava, and he says, "Between the two of you, I'm not sure who's the best engineer, but both of you are going to handle the tricorder and the detection of these subspace eddies." And then he turns to Cadet Samson and Cadet Sevik, and he says, "Once they've been able to detect them, I need both of you to be able to plot some kind of course, plot these things to see if if they're drifting just gradually or if they're actively moving towards people, and how we can best avoid them." I, 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 I'm guessing that's probably going to require a good navigational ability and also a good scientific mind. So I ask that you two do that once the tricorder's taken care of.
Understood, Commander.
Thank you. So now we're gonna jump to in the infirmary. Instructor Tanner does not seem, and this is in the subspace realm, so it's only Grimlow and Snowball. But Instructor Tanner kind of seems out of it for probably 50% of the time that you guys, in game, you guys have probably only been in the subspace layer for like 15 or 20 minutes. But he kind of is just like looking around and muttering things that sound very technical and engineering-y, but you're not, I mean, you're both medical people, so you're not really able to understand every single thing that he's saying. And plus, he's, like I said, he's talking under his breath, he's stuttering, he's looking around kind of not in his right mind. Yeah, do y'all, either Snowpaw or Grimlow, would like to do anything?
Well, so are we kind of retconning? Because the last adventure, I failed to avoid another bubble and took enough stress that would have knocked me unconscious.
Okay, yeah, no, I just have a horrible memory. So did you take like did you like get engulfed by the bubble like the chief medical officer
I
did?
completely, yeah, I completely failed the roll to see it coming and
Okay.
then to dodge out of the way, and then it was like 7 or 8 stress.
Okay, let me look at your character sheet. Medical. Where is it? There it is.
Yeah, his stress. Yeah, he went
So he's
all the
like,
way down on stress. I have 2 left myself.
oh wait, I think I'm
Because
confusing the
I had
characters.
4 from the explosion,
Okay.
Yeah.
the initial explosion
Hmm.
of the transporter incident, and then I took a lot more then.
Okay. So yeah, you basically would well you would have an injury, and I'm gonna say that when the let me see here when the bubble kind of uh, attaches itself to you, so to speak, um, you're able to see for a brief moment, um, once again, your body's lying on the ground. You're able to see Tanner's body lying on the biobed, even though he's also standing there. You're able to see the Trill Commodore lying slumped against the wall, injured, his Trill symbiote kind of the image of it stretching and fluctuating almost as if it's in two different realms at once. And then all of a sudden,
I'll be
you.
back as soon as I can. I'm getting pulled away.
Sorry, what was that?
Snowpaw's getting pulled away.
Pulled away by.
My mother.
Oh, in real life. I thought you meant in the game.
No, I'm getting pulled away. They did dinner early today and decided I have to go up and be there with them. And I'm like, God damn it, I'm
I
fucking almost whatever. Getting tired of
understand.
this.
I trust me. I understand completely. Um, yeah, we all
I
have.
moved back to help them.
Like
I
if
did
you
not
need
move
to,
back.
we can delay the stuff in the medical area because it's just Snowpaw and me, and I'm only here until 8 anyway, so I don't want you to have to recap things. It's completely up to you.
Well, I'm torn between, like I said earlier, this is kind of like supposed to be the last episode of the season, and it doesn't start again until August. So I was hoping to get at least a big chunk of it done by 8, and then for those of you who had to go at 8, that's fine. But at the same time, I don't want to rush a game or a story. I would rather people make decisions in their own time. So I mean. And the problem we have with this game, well, honestly, it's with every game, is it's very rare that we get everybody together. It's in a lot of games, especially in a game like this, sometimes half the players don't even show up. So, if I wouldn't have no problem postponing it a week or 2 weeks if I knew that the same people that were here today would be here, next week or the week after. But there's no guarantee of that. So, um,
And
No
it's very
problem.
likely that not everybody would be.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
we're 90% sure that's the case. So, um,
All right, well, I'll just wing it as best I can then in here in the medical area. So you're saying I see my body, but it's not like I'm back in my body though.
correct. And your vision's blurring. You feel yourself kind of, the edges of your vision is blackening, and you're make an insight medicine check. I'll say difficulty 2. Let's see here. Oh,
Nope.
you definitely know that whatever's happening, you're losing consciousness. But you also know that there's something important about that. There's something that you read somewhere, maybe in a medical journal or something, about being stuck in subspace and and consciousness being taken from the body and then placed back in the body, but you're not really you can't really remember exactly the circumstances around it, and then as um, yeah, so that's basically what what goes through your mind briefly as you begin to lose consciousness. And Snowpaw, are you gone yet, or are you still here? Okay, I guess. See, on my screen, he's still here. Did he leave? And yeah, it
He may
looks.
have not actually left.
Yeah, left the voice chat. Okay. Um.
So do
So,
I actually pass out or not?
well, because you said that last time you passed out, which I had completely forgotten, I'm gonna say yes because I don't want to. Um, I don't want to retcon that, and just for the, if a lot of times I'll just be like, hand wave something and be like, yeah, it's fine. Um, but in this case, I'll say that you passed out, and there's a relatively quick way. I mean, I say that, um, but there is a relatively quick way to kind of rectify that. But it can only happen, I believe you said this last game, outside in the quote unquote real world. So I'm going to jump back to the people in the corridor, the conscious people. Um, I need a roll for the tricorder. It's going to be whoever's doing the main role, and Skan is letting you two, Runa and Karaba, decide, but whoever's doing the main role is going to be the one holding the tricorder, so it's going to be control engineering, and whoever's doing the more assisting is going to be the more like advice giving and intellectual. That they're going to be rolling either insight engineering or reason engineering. So I'll let one of you.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
My control is 11. My engineering is 4.
Okay, so that's pretty good for the physical. What about Runa? How's she doing on engineering?
If you want to go, so you got control 11 and engineering 2 or 3.
4.
Okay, you can do the main role because Runa can easily do the advice giving
Okay.
because she has a talent called experimental technology that yeah.
Okay, so question. Since she is, and I should have thought about this earlier, but since she is assisting as an instructor, you can also use presence if your presence is higher than your insight or reason. But if you want to use insight or reason, that's fine.
Insight,
Okay.
it's way better.
Yeah, so being half Deltan and half, part Deltan and part Vulcan, I figured it would be. All right, so yeah, so the main role is going to be control engineering, and then the assist is going to be insight engineering. And then you will be able to detect. Oh, and the difficulty before. How many momentum do y'all have? I'm checking. Y'all have 2, I think. But the difficulty is going to be 3. And this is just to modify the tricorder to be able to detect them. So you have 2 momentum. I would use the 2 momentum. But that's just me.
Okay. I'll use the 2 momentum.
Okay. So that would give you 4 dice. And you did not get an assist from Runa, unfortunately. So you definitely need this.
And improvisation.
Yeah.
Focus?
Yeah, because you definitely need to improv with this. This is
Come
probably.
on, dice gods.
Yeah.
Mechanic was it?
Control.
Software dice gods.
Yep. Ooh. So the good news is you got. Oh well. I didn't. The complication range is not increased, but so you rolled a 19, so that's not an actual complication. So make sure your complication range is a 1. But yeah, you succeeded and you got a momentum back. So you're able to see. So here's what you see. I'll actually show you what you see. Around each of the individuals lying on the floor is a greenish hued kind of bubble that you can, like I said, barely see. But from those bubbles and from even the room that they came from originally are other smaller bubbles that are increasing in size slowly, but they're moving around. They're drifting quickly. Not quickly. They're not like sprinting at you, but they're moving quick more. They're moving faster than they are growing. So the issue isn't that they're growing. Like eventually they're going to grow to this, if you leave them unchecked, they're going to grow to the size of the Earth or whatever, but that would probably take several decades. So basically, the issue is they're moving, and now you're going to need to do. I'm going to need Sevik and Samson. I need one of you to do the main role. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Samson since it's a science role. It's going to be reason science, and somebody's buzzing. Durlock, I think that's you.
Buzzing? What do you mean?
I mean, it's hard to describe. It's just a loud buzz in my ear from someone's.
Yeah.
It's like you got a fan going in the background right at your microphone.
Yeah, or something loud in the background, or near your
That's
mic.
strange. There's absolutely nothing here at all. It is dead
It also
silent.
Or is
it
it
looks like
core-
Chortle's mic is always open too.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The more people that have their mics active, the background noise sometimes just conflicts with each other, and it gets really a lot louder than it normally would be. But yeah, so reason science for Samson, and then I will say reason or insight con for Sevik to assist. And this will give you like not just the trajectory of these subspace eddies, but you'll be able to figure out where they are, what they're doing, and they're consistent. They're basically everything you'll need to know. Ooh, complication.
It's definitely Durlock's mic.
Yeah. We should be able to see the space eddy. Yep. All right.
I just talked that up to the shitty app.
All right. So the complication is an issue. The good news is you're able to relatively, not with complete accuracy. I would say you're probably 70% accurate about the navigational part of it. Sevik, re-roll that. I said reason or insight con. I might have said science, but I meant con. Sorry. To kind of understand their trajectory and where they're going. And then once you re-roll that, you'll probably get more information. Unless you get another 0. Oh, you didn't. So yeah, now you get 100% of it. So yeah, you're easily able to figure out where these bubbles are going, where they're going to go next, where they came from, and yeah, people are stepping back out of the way. And the good news is you're able to also figure out a way through them to get into the infirmary. It is going to be a security role to either security or con to be able to navigate them successfully, though. So Commander Scott looks to Lieutenant Runa and says, "You're the science person. I need you to take whoever you need to in there and get that EPS conduit fixed and get these cadets and everyone back to normal. I still have a lot to do out here."
Yes, sir.
All right, and he moves over to a random panel on a wall, a console, and starts typing. So who's going to try to navigate their way into this sick bay? I should be asking Runa since you're picking the people going with you.
Well, basically, she will be needing a science cadet, which she looks right to Samson, and she doesn't know which. She goes, "Any volunteers?"
I am trained as a nurse.
Yes, Lieutenant. Based on us having been able to determine the path through, I believe we can get us all through safely. Through the eddies, that is.
Yes, I think we can easily turn it down slowly from the inside as well. So, which is really good. So, whoever wants to come through, you're more than welcome. So let's go in.
Yes, Lieutenant.
All right. After you
Yes, sir.
guys decide who's going in, I'm jumping to Soth and Velik. Um, so if you guys remember correctly, you've discovered that as far as you can tell, there's nothing. There's nobody here. And you're able to move about freely, except just make sure you don't intersect with these subspace eddies. And if I remember correctly, one of you ran down to the end of the hall and came back, or something like that. So yeah, what are you doing next?
Well, as I recall, we were starting to go for a bit of a walk,
Right.
just to see what we could see. Soth will turn to Velik and say, whilst trying to sort of suppress his growing frustration. Well, Velik, I think as part of this ambling, I think we can get through the walls. If my touching of them before was anything to go by, but perhaps we don't want to go through. And he gestures near the door, which is presumably the concentration of bubbles, through that wall. Let's see if we can loop round to the other side of the medical bay and come in from maybe a safer angle, just to see what's going on. And if you're feeling rather bold, I propose a brief experiment which might help set out some of our limitations in this realm, for want of a better word.
Well, you certainly piqued my interest. I am
Glad.
after all.
Glad to hear of it. You know what? And he's sort of like putting on a slightly forced smile, but it's like a stage smile. You can tell it's mocking. Which he then puts one hand up, and he says, "Well, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. When on Earth, do as the humans do. A high five to our future venture." And he goes to try and high five Velik, because in secret, that's the experiment. He's trying to work out if we can touch one another,
okay.
or if we just go through one another, or something like that.
Yeah, I actually thought that. Yeah. So if Velik decides, Velik, do you decide to humor this man and give him a high five?
Velik just looks at him.
Yeah, I figured.
Like, what are you doing?
Well, if he does that, Soth will like try to carry through with this almost forced camaraderie. He's trying to keep morale up. And when he realizes that he's going to be left hanging, he just continues the motion and goes to pat Velik on the shoulder, which should hopefully still give him the info.
Yeah. So yeah, when you are able to touch other people in this subspace layer, you don't go through them.
Okay, once that's done, he then points to his
Just
hand
in
on
the same
Velik's shoulder.
looks.
He points to his hand on
Raised
Velik's shoulder.
eyebrow and everything. Yeah.
Wonderful. But he says, "Look, I don't go through you, unlike the wall. We have learned. Anyway, let's loop round. It might be useful if we have to pull one another about, rescue one another from those," as he gestures at the bubbles, to what degree they can still see them. And says, let's loop around to the other side, see if we can get into the infirmary and see what's going on there.
All right, since you guys are kind of surrounded by the bubbles, you are going to have to make a control con or control security. I'm assuming it's going to be a security roll.
From Soth, certainly.
And if you do happen to touch one of these bubbles, you will have to make a fitness security roll.
Okay. Do you know what is this difficulty 2?
Shit, what was the difficulty last time? Yeah, 2 I think is a... Well, the thing is because they seem random, so the difficulty is going to change. Like if several bubbles floated away from you, then you'd have plenty of room and difficulty would be lower. But at the moment, it's difficulty 2. You have a few behind you, a few in front of you, and they're kind of sometimes it seems like they're coming together and then spreading apart. It seems super random. The only thing that you've been able to tell for sure is if you get close to one, it kind of like magnetically attracts to you.
Attracts, yeah. Okay. Well, alas, I don't believe I have any applicable foci, so here we go.
Same.
Ooh.
Curses!
You guys do have a momentum. All right. You also have determination. Don't forget about that. So yeah, you have accidentally try. I guess maybe you were doing one of those James Bond maneuvers or Mission Impossible where the lasers are kind of crossing over and you're trying to like limbo your way under it or something, but it doesn't work. It for whatever reason you end up touching it. So before you get completely engulfed, you need to make a difficulty 2 fitness security maneuver. Both of you.
Hmm.
You have 1 momentum. You have your determinations, which you can use in conjunction with directives if you don't have a value.
Because I'm having a bit of a think about that in a very. You know what? I'm not going to use momentum. I'm going to do what I should have done in the first place and give you threat.
Oh, thank you so much. I only have 19.
Yeah, well, have 21.
Thank
Curse
I
you.
used
you,
to.
giving the GM threat. Curse you.
That or death. Here we go. Whoppa.
Oh, nice. So you give Velik 2 momentum to use. So now he's up to 3 momentum. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Velik. Take advantage of it.
All right. Well, I'll get two momentum then.
Okay.
Buy 2 dice.
So you're at 1 now. Ooh, the good news is
Oh,
you
great.
3
succeeded.
successes.
So you're at 2 momentum. Do you want to use those last 2 momentum to get rid of that complication?
Yeah, might as well. Yeah,
Okay,
might as
probably a good idea. All right. So you're at 0 momentum, but you don't have that complication. So you successfully yank, as you guys are yanking your arm or whatever part of your body out of this subspace. Bellic, um, you begin to sense a presence behind your neck, a breath almost. But when you look, there's nothing there. And you can see in one of these subspace eddies a reflection of someone standing behind you for a brief moment, and it's Tanner. But then a second later, it's gone. And then you guys get through and out on the other side of the corridor.
Well, Cadet Soth, I suppose my mental issues have come back. If I doze off during this entire encounter, to make sure to take me with you, carry me with you if you can. I know I'm a Vulcan and a bit strong, but do try at least.
Soth cracks a little bit of a grin at that, and it playfully drawing on the rivalry between Andorians and Vulcans. We'll just. Is that a slight at us, Vulcan? Pah! I'll carry 3 of you if I have to. But again, mischievous grin. He's clearly just playing with it.
I'm sure you're capable. Yes.
All right.
Chuckles.
I'm going to need everyone who's entering the sickbay to make a control con or control security difficulty 2 maneuver to get through the subspace eddies and into the infirmary. You have no momentum. You can give me threat, use determination, but you have to get in there.
Having.
I'm going to give you 2 threat.
Okay. So I'm at 23.
Oh, is this back into the real world now?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay, all
I'm
right.
trying to get them in there quickly so that, because
Yep.
Grimlow has to leave in a few minutes. Hoping to rectify things quickly-ish, but, still keep the story and roleplay going.
I'm gonna buy 1 threat
Okay. So I'm at
for
24.
3 dice, right?
Yeah, 3 total dice. Ooh, nice. So you guys have 1 momentum now because of Sevik.
I'm gonna use my determination to re-roll that.
All right. Which
I re-roll both of them, right?
Which value or sorry, who's is that Dorton?
Yeah, it is.
Sorry.
So I guess I'm
Yeah.
looking at maybe exploration will help me find my people. I'm gonna say these guys are my people.
Sure, yeah. And then yeah, you roll both dice. Re-roll both dice. Same thing. All right. So, and is there anyone? Let's see. Who? Samson? Do you want to roll to get through there? You can give me threat, or I think you have how much? One momentum.
What am I rolling?
Control security or control con to maneuver through the subspace eddies, which you can now see or detect. Oh, nice. All right. And was Karaba going in?
Um, she's not a science person.
Okay. If you want to stay outside and cordon with Commander Scon, you can. That's fine. All right. So you
Oh yeah,
guys.
she'll stay out and watch Z and everybody else.
All right. So yeah, you guys. Those of you who make it in. So let's see. We got Dorton. You get through here. Make sure I'm in the right area. Okay. And security. No, Karaba's outside. Sorry, looking for more. Samson and who was the other one? Sevik. And then Runa. So yeah, you guys get in there. You find a Trill Commodore just lying slumped on the ground. He's conscious, but he's like not doing well. He's you can detect that one of the subspace eddies is kind of intersected with his midsection, and now his Trill symbiote um, is being affected. Your tricorders can easily detect that. You see Tanner lying on the bed. You see a subspace eddy kind of floating near or above him. The nurse is frantically pressing consoles and grabbing hypos rays and just doing a bunch of frantic things. Not she just saw her the chief medical officer go down hard. So and he's on the floor, also intersected. So everyone who's on the floor has a subspace eddy over them, just like the people in the corridor. So what is Lieutenant Runa's orders?
Basically, she wants to try and find the machine so she can actually turn it slowly turn it off.
Okay. So you find the machine easily enough. It's the one that's intersected with an EPS conduit. You don't want to turn it off though. It's already off. You want to get the affected instructor and cadets into it to kind of fix them, but you want to do it slowly, not
Yeah.
like how it was done earlier. So what do you do
She wants-
first?
Basically, whoever's the closest body, we go and move that into it.
The closest one
And
would be Snowpaw.
okay, then Snowpaw will be slowly getting out of it.
All right.
We'll be doing one at a time.
So when you walk over, the first thing you notice when you walk over is the EPS conduit is still fluctuating. There's sparks coming out. There's a plasma fire near it. So someone's going to have to deal with the plasma fire and jerry rig or repair this bad EPS conduit. So yeah, if you put someone in there now, it's going to be really dangerous.
Runa is gonna say, "Can we get this conduit at least turned off?"
Samson or Sevik or anyone can volunteer for that. It's going to be a control engineering difficulty 2. Well, difficulty 1 if you just want to turn it off, but difficulty 2 to repair it. And repair it, I don't mean like, make it look perfect. I mean just repair it enough just to get the people in it, or in the pod and not have them harmed.
Repair.
All right.
Question: are the tasks mutually exclusive and not like say, roll 1 to turn it off and then roll again to repair?
Well, if you're gonna make one roll, so it's gonna be control engineering. If you get one success, you basically found a way to keep it off so that it doesn't affect anything. But if you get two successes, then you're able to basically not only turn it off so that it doesn't negatively affect anything, but also make it so that that EPS conduit and that the console that it's connected to and the lights and the walls and everything still works and functions. But it's in a kind of jury rigged state. It's gonna be like a difficulty 5 if you want to completely fix it.
Okay. All right, my control and engineering total is 12. What's
Okay.
yours?
I think that's the highest, isn't it? Oh, okay. So, oh no, that's not the highest. I was thinking 12 for just one of those, just control. Um, so I think I'll look at Samson's, but I don't think it's good. Welcome back, Snowpaw. I don't think Samson's is a good engineering.
I'm just thinking this in terms of who's main role and who's assist.
Honestly, that's up to the lieutenant. I mean, she's the one in charge.
So if you wanted to work together to turn it off, she'll allow it.
Yeah, one of you can do the main role, and someone else can do assist. Like I said, highest difficulty just to to get it reasonable is going to be a 2. Um, I don't think anyone's going to try to fix the bulkhead with some welding equipment at this point in time. They're just going to try to get it so that it's functional. Um, and 1 means like it's no longer sparking and flaming, but it's the EPS conduit is shot. You can't really do much with it. And then I'm imagining, I mean, it doesn't take a roll to turn on the quantum sensor pod that you're going to have to put someone in. And then it's just a matter of actually, getting that person back to life.
I'll make the main role then.
Okay. All right, I'm heading off. Yeah, hopefully we can too. We'll recap for the conclusion posted. So, yeah, you'll probably hear a lot of us talking about what horrible thing happened.
All right, no problem. Have a good
All
one.
right, later. I won't let anyone die. Or will
I?
Difficulty 2. 2 successes.
Yep. All right, and then I'm guessing nobody is assisting. So in that case, the EPS conduit is, and you put Snowpaw inside, right? Because you said the closest person.
Yep.
Well, technically the
Yes.
closest person's the Commodore. So do you want to put the NPC in? He is a Commodore, so that I'll tell you that if you put the Commodore in first, it may affect your reputation. If you put the Cadet in first, it also may impact your reputation. It kind of just depends on which way it goes. So who are you putting in first?
Basically, who's the most worse off?
As far as you can tell visually, they're all the same. Like the only person, the problem, the thing with the Commodore is he's still conscious, and you can still see him looking at you and like pain in his eyes. Tanner is probably objectively worse off because he's of everything that's gone on with him. But I mean, this is one of those things where you have to make a snap decision. You can't spend an hour thinking about who's worst off. You have to
Yeah, I
pick
know.
someone.
Lieutenant, the Commodore's symbiote looks like it's being intersected by this subspace eddy.
We can get him in first, and basically, slowly, we'll have to work with the others.
Okay. Fitness security to move him. I'll say fitness or control security to move him. Difficulty is 1. But you know what? I'm increasing the complication range to 3. So that if you happen to, I don't know, injure the symbiote, well, you got a success. So he's in there.
Can I help with this?
You can, but it's already succeeded. So.
Oh, no. Oh, sorry. It was only 1. Never mind.
Yep. So he's in the pod, and now it's just a matter of running the pod. So I need a control medicine difficulty 2.
This is my thing.
Yep.
Higher than mine.
I will spend. Do we have any momentum?
Let's see. You have one, I believe.
Yeah, I'll spend that for an extra die.
Let me see what Samson
Is
has
there
for
any
medicine.
reasons?
No.
As a quick question, is Sevik going to have to stay at the repaired thing, or can he assist with this medicine role?
Yeah, he can assist.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to. It's not like he's holding down a switch to make sure it doesn't flip back over. He that situation's
Okay.
taken care of.
Is this emergency medicine?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Like, yeah. If his symbiote dies, he dies. What did I say?
Oh,
Difficulty
I
two?
also have xenobiology, so
Okay. Did I say difficulty two? I think I said two. Or did I
yeah,
say
I
three?
thought so.
Who cares? Yeah, it's two. Um, and I'm guessing, is anyone going to assist or no?
Lieutenant Sevik will assist. I mean, Cadet Sevik will assist.
All right.
And
Control.
since you mentioned emergency medicine,
Yep, that would apply. So control medicine. Oh, nice. So you got yourself. I'm gonna say you got yourselves a momentum back. And normally, in fair, full disclosure, this would be an extended task, but I don't got the patience for this, and Josh isn't here. So um, you successfully managed to get this man back to normal. His pain is gone. His symbiote is back to normal. He kind of, as the pod opens up, he pulls himself out and kind of shouts unexpectedly, "Get the others in there." He points to Tanner, but you can tell he's just generally talking about everyone. But he's like, "Get them in there now."
And you said Tanner looks the worst?
He's he doesn't look the worst. He's objectively in the worst condition because of what happened to him in the warp field inversion. It is way worse than what's happening to them right now. Because right now everyone's mind is still intact. His mind is not intact. Like he's losing
Basically,
brain cells.
Lieutenant Bruno will pick up Tenor.
Okay. Control
Uh,
or sorry, fitness security. Or control or fitness security.
or or if somebody else wants to do it, they can.
I mean, it doesn't matter as long as
Okay.
it's
Okay.
one difficulty. And I should increase the complication range, but I'm not going to. Not for this one anyway. Maybe for the player characters. Control or fitness security. Difficulty 1.
There.
Nice. So you got
I got one momentum.
Yep, and it's up to 2. So you get them in there. Now you're going to need to do, what was it? Control medicine? Control medicine. Difficulty 4.
Okay, so I'm going to spend both those momentum.
I'm
Actually, no. I'm going to use 2 threat.
I'm increasing the complication range to 4 as well. Difficulty 4 and complication range 4.
I'll buy 3 extra dice with threat.
All right. So I'm down to 16 threat. And did you use the momentum or no? I guess not.
No, I used all threat to get
Okay.
that.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice. And you're back up to 1 momentum. You didn't get a complication. So Tanner doesn't immediately. So as you're looking at this console on this quantum sensor pod, the thing that you figure out for the first time is that 15% of Tanner's body, like on a molecular level, was still in subspace, and that is why his this quote unquote subspace narcosis kicked in when he was yanked out of the inverted warp field. Now and as you're looking at this at the scanners, you're able to detect that the EPS conduit that exploded caused some sort of subspace harmonic resonance with only those 15% of his molecules, which were still out of phase, which caused all these subspace eddies to envelop people and spread throughout the infirmary. Um, uh,
There's
But
lots of physics going on that I don't understand that made this happen.
exactly. Now the main thing is though, when the pod opens, he does not. He's not conscious. He is still unconscious. But the pod also will tell you that he is, for all sakes and purposes, fine. As far as medically and physically fine, and mentally fine, because that's important too. But he is unconscious at the moment.
He's stable for now. Let's move on to the next patient.
All right, who's next?
The next closest one.
All right, so Snowball. Once again, fitness, security, difficulty 1, or control.
Me or them?
Whoever's picking you up.
Okay.
Yep, I got him.
All right. Also, I need everyone who's not stuck in a subspace eddy to roll control security again. So that's Runa too, to maneuver through the subspace eddies, because I forgot about doing that when you first got in. So go ahead and make that roll, and we'll just say that up until now, you got lucky. All right. So,
Can I get can I use that last momentum?
Yeah, I was about to suggest that. Because some people don't have good security. Some people do. Ooh, some people still fail. Do you want to maybe use a determination to re-roll it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What value or directive are you using?
Basically she's gonna use her determination is that to save people's lives.
To save people's lives.
Yeah. Basically, if she goes down, then she can't save anyone's life.
Makes sense to me. All right, go ahead and
Yep.
re-roll that whole dice pool. Ooh, somehow got worse. Oh, that's not good at all.
Yeah.
Now you need to make a fitness security roll, difficulty 2, and hope you can give me threat for, more dice, but you can't let that thing engulf you.
Can I use get 3
Sure.
dice with 3?
Sure. So I'm back up to 19 threat. Awesome. All right. Roll fitness security. Let's see if you go. How is that possible? Wow. That's actually kind of amazing, to be honest with you.
The fates have decreed.
Yeah, like there's not a roll that's less than 12. No, there's one that's 11. Wow. I think we've so if Grimlow was here, Grimlow and Snowball, you guys just see Lieutenant Runa pop into existence, and it like you see her body start to fall and fade out of existence, but then her consciousness just appears next to you.
Oh, welcome.
Oh, great. Another.
I'll head over to Snowpaw and heft them up over my shoulder into the bio bed thing.
Basically, yeah. Runa says
we move
Runa
this way away from this area.
Runa says, "Oh, it won't be too long. We'll be back out of here, especially for you, Snowball."
Yeah, well, there's stupid little bubbles in here floating around that are tearing us up, so we might want to move away from the spot.
Okay.
All right, to make things worse for you two, make a control security difficulty 2 roll. Snowball and Runa.
Of course.
I named this episode right, at least. Oh, nice. Succeeded, but also
You
got a
said
complication. Sorry, what was that?
You said difficulty 2?
Yep.
Yeah, fuck it. I'll just go with it. Yeah, I did not succeed.
All right. What I will allow, and I'll let Runa make this decision, is since you succeeded, I will allow you to save Snowpaw at your own life, essentially. So you would follow the chief medical officer into whatever deeper subspace layer he went, but Snowpaw would be safe. Or he makes a fitness security roll to kind of yank himself out of that subspace eddy, and you take some other complication. It's up to Runa, though. It's up to Mac.
Basically, she does the one thing. She knows she succeeded. She goes, she missed one, and she goes, notice Snowpaw goes, is going to be sucked away. She decides to shove him out of the way, and
And
yeah.
she gets taken. All right. She is now out of. Well, you guys on the outside still see her, so I probably should put that back. But in the subspace realm where Snowpaw is, you just see her kind of shove you out of the way and kind of fall into that bubble and disappear. Let's see, where is it?
Look at whoever else is still in here with me going,
Nobody. I mean, Grimlow's there. Well,
I,
no, he's kind of unconscious at the moment. But yeah, you're pretty much alone now.
I'm just like, yeah, fuck.
So
That's
she
all
was
she
there.
says is, oh, fuck.
All right. Now, back in the real infirmary, Snowpaw has been put into the pod. I am going to need a control medicine difficulty. I think it was 3 before. I know Tanner was 4, but 3.
The first one was 2,
Oh, the
Tanner
first one
was
was 3.
3.
Okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, 2 is fine. Difficulty 2. I think Commodore should have been 3.
We have no momentum, right?
Mm-mm.
I believe that to be correct.
I will
Yeah,
buy
we
2
don't.
extra dice with threat.
All right. So I'm at 21. Yay. All right. Wow, nice. So the good news is you got 2 momentum. And the other good news,
Oh, that probably should have been more. I didn't turn my focus back on.
4, 2. So yeah, I will say you get 3 momentum. All right. So Snowpaw, you start to come around into consciousness, and then the pod opens up, and you find yourself in the same infirmary, except surrounded by people. And you see, of course, once you are able to kind of look around, you see Grimlow and Runa, and the chief medical officer still lying on the ground. So what's next?
Who else is still on the ground? Whoever's the next closest, I guess we should get them in the bed here.
All right. So I'll let you guys decide who's closest. If you want Grimlow to be closest, that's fine. It'll be another fitness or control security to lift person, difficulty 1, and you know what?
Does emergency medicine apply here?
To lift them? No. I mean, that's a bit of a stretch. Otherwise, you could really use anything.
Athletics, if any of you's got it.
Yeah, or I mean, even composure.
I have composure.
Yeah, that'll work. I mean, if you don't have composure when you're lifting someone, you're gonna hurt something. So yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so control or fitness security, nice. So you guys are up to 5 momentum. I think that's the most you've had this entire game. But you get Grimlow.
Can I assist?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, anyone can assist. I mean, the way I
I
see
thought
it,
I was the only one left alive in the room.
no, people are waking up, not falling into. All right, so you're at 6.
I dodged the bubbles earlier.
All right, let me. I gotta fix something. Let's see. I hope that worked. I think it worked because yeah, I don't see your token there anymore. Um, Now I need a control medicine, difficulty 2, but I'm increasing the complication range to 2.
Mm, I'll buy 2 extra dice with momentum,
All
I
right,
guess.
4. Ooh, nice. What was the difficulty 2? Yeah, so you guys are back up to 6. All right, and the Grimlow, similar to Tanner, still unconscious, but as far as the computer can tell, all scans reveal that he's mentally and physically fit. He's just unconscious. All right. So who's next?
Maybe Runa.
Runa. All right. I'm increasing the complication range to 5 on this one.
Awesome. What's the
Difficulty 2.
difficulty?
2.
I'll buy 2 extra dice with momentum again.
Okay. Well, it's a
And I'll
20.
use 2 momentum to remove that complication,
Damn.
please.
All right, if you insist. All right, so I wasted literally 4 threat for no reason. But yeah, Runa, you also are still unconscious, but the computer says everything is fine, physically, neurologically. You're going to be fine. Your body just needs some rest. However, I will tell you that at the moment, Lieutenant Runa is kind of in her perception is that she's in kind of like a dark, cold room, and an image of Tanner is in front of her, but his body is kind of like the image of his body is kind of fractured, and parts of it seems like it's melting, and other parts of it looks like it's far away than it should be, and like you instinctively know that this obviously isn't him, and that this is some kind of extra perception that's going on of in this subspace realm that you're able to undergo because of the faults that have occurred. So yeah, who's going in the pod next?
Well, what I'll say to whoever's still in the room with me, well, good news, they're alive.
For now.
Also, good news, I'm a psychiatrist.
Yes.
And I might be needed.
Yep. All right, so the only one left in the infirmary that's not, fine is
Yeah, let's put this other
chief
dude
medical.
in the pod here.
All right. Well, since you're doing so well, if you just want to spend a momentum, I'll say he's fine. He's going to be in the same state as Grimlow and Runa. He's going to still
I think
be unconscious.
that's a good idea.
Okay. You don't have to roll for it.
So did I wake up when I got put in the pod?
Yeah, Snowfall's been up. You should see the normal infirmary now. I tried to move your token over so you can see it. I'm not sure if you can or not, but
there's so much stuff on this screen.
Well, you shouldn't be able to see the green circles at least. There's a lot of green circles. You shouldn't be able to see that. So
I don't see green circles. It doesn't look like an infirmary to me though, but okay.
It should.
Yeah, I mean
it looks like an
still
engine
in
room
subspace.
to me.
That looks like an engine room. Yeah, it's definitely
yes.
With all the beds.
I'm not seeing beds.
Where are you? Oh, that's what happened. I moved you off the screen, but for some unknown reason, it would not. I've got to remember how to do this again. I thought I knew. Oh, I remember how. Okay, I click on your name.
I've been sitting on the screen pretty much the whole time. That's why I had no idea.
The whole time. I just moved you there though. All right, I'll just. Oh wait, I figured it out. There we go. Okay.
There we go. Okay, yeah, that looks like the.
That would be weird if you just magically woke up in an engine room. All right, so everyone that should be awake is awake.
Can someone get me those other people from the hallway?
Yeah, who's going to do that? I'm guessing Dorton and Snowpaw are going to handle the medical stuff now. The Commodore is basically. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Karava can just I'll pick him up and put him into the medical area, I guess.
All right. So because you're going to be picking up someone's body and maneuvering through these subspace eddies, the difficulty is 3.
Okay, I got athletics as a focus.
And don't forget, y'all can assist each other. You basically pick someone up by their legs, and the other person picks them up by their arms. Yeah, athletics as a focus is fine. But yeah, whoever's doing it needs to make a control or fitness security 3. Oh, and I am going to be increasing the complication range to 3 as well.
Also, I'll do a. I'll increase the task, the dice. I'll use a what is it, motive excess. What is it called? Momentum.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we have 1
Increase the
momentum.
dice.
Okay.
Oh,
You can also give me threat to increase the dice.
oh, I'll give you some.
All right. How many threat are you giving me? And how many? Are you still using the momentum, or are you just giving me threat?
I'll just give you 1 threat for 1 extra dice.
Okay. 15. All right. Roll when ready. And also, like I said, anyone can go out there and help. The difficulty will be the same. Oh wow, he got it. All right. So who do you grab?
I'll grab Z.
All right. So Z is in. So Velik is now in the pod. Where is his character sheet? Or yeah. I always, for some reason, I always think he's a security officer. I don't know why. I just don't. All right, so he's in the pod. Control, medicine, difficulty 2, raising the complication range to 3.
Am I still leading this, or is Snowball taking over?
Whoever wants to can do it, especially now that Runa's not available to give orders.
Well, I was put in the capsule. I wasn't until I was let out of the capsule yet. I don't know where I'm exactly
at.
Yeah,
you're out. If you look at the screen.
Oh, you're standing beside.
You're standing.
It looks like you're in the capsule still, though. You're right.
Okay, I'll move you over. There. You're out of the capsule. Karava is entered. Velik is in the pod.
Are we in the medical? All right, so we're in the medical room. I'm just looking like.
So the pod.
Just clarification: Are we? Is this the same medical room that has all the eddies floating through it right now, or a different one?
Yeah, that's why the security rolls are so high, because you guys have to. The good thing about that is you have tricorders that can detect them. So, as long as you have those tricorders, you can see them, but it's still going to be difficult. So yeah, control, medicine, difficulty 2, complication range 3.
Control. I have no control.
Okay, I will lead this then.
I do have medicine.
I hope so. You're a medical cadet.
And so you said, all right. So, oh wait, no, control's 9. I thought I was looking at control, medicine. You said difficulty 2. How much momentum do we have?
1.
It's difficulty 2. My rolls have not been that great.
Do you want to assist me with this, Ben?
I would suggest get the person who's got the highest control medicine to do it.
I have a 9 and a 4. Medicine
I have an
4,
11 and a 4.
Yeah.
You have the better chance.
Yes. And I'll get 1 extra die on this, I guess.
All right. So 0 momentum now. Nice. Good news is you got 2 momentum. And here comes the assist eventually. I heard it on the other end. I just don't see it popping up. Or maybe I heard something else. All right. Well, it's not coming on my end, but it's it's a success. So Velik, as you're walking around wherever you're walking around, suddenly You find yourself in an enclosed chamber, lying on your back in the cold, being scanned by multiple things, and the pod begins to open up, and you find yourself back to reality.
Right. So, I guess a taste of my own medicine, eh?
I
As I
don't,
look at everyone.
I don't know what that is or what that means. Like, what does
I
that have
mean, I
anything?
did it last time for Tanner.
Oh yeah, you did, didn't you? Well, the good news is, yeah, you should be glad that they're more careful than you were. All right, who's next?
Mr. Velik, I've scheduled an appointment with me next week based on
Oh,
those
of
comments
course.
from the hallway.
I'm sure you have. Yes. We'll think about it.
All
Now
right.
get out of my pod. I have more people to treat.
And thank you, by the way.
You're welcome.
Just don't wander into anything else, please.
Yes. Not sure how many times I can do
Look.
this safely.
Mr.
I think. Carry on.
I was gonna say, Mr. Soth Chaaran, what is his biggest fear?
Well, actually, I was having a bit of a think about that because since he's the last one left, if for whatever reason people had just like immediately started rolling, I was going to say, "Can I interrupt and just?" So as he's walking around with Velik, he doesn't know what's going on with the pods, and Velik just poof
Yep.
out of existence next to him. Soth sort of looks around. It does go to a fear, but less a sort of terror fear, more a low dread. You'll see what I mean in a moment. He sort of looks around this phantasmal corridor, and now he's alone and doesn't necessarily have to quite keep up the blustery "ha-ha" attitude.
Right.
Shoulders sag, and he just goes, more than 20 years of trying my best every day, top of the class, best grades, extra credit, pride of my clan and house. More than 20 years of it to die in a pointless training accident.
You know what the funniest part about that I can see is? He's in the middle of saying this out loud to himself, and in the middle of it is when he ploops back into the
Right.
container and he finishes saying it in the container.
That's what I was thinking.
Lol,
That's what
I'm
I was
gonna
thinking.
do that.
You
I'm
know
gonna
what?
say that.
He's there going through like all of I tried so hard in all of this, and I'm going to die in a pointless training accident. My family will be ashamed, and all of this meant nothing. And then he's just going to...
All right. Control or fitness security to get him in the pod, and then control medicine to bring him back to life, essentially. Difficulty to do the security thing is 3. To do the medical thing is 2. I'm increasing both complication ranges to 4.
That sucks.
Should Karava do it again?
I mean, I imagine whoever's good at security does the security thing, and whoever's good at medicine does the medicine thing. It's up to you who you want to assist.
Security, is it?
Huh?
Yeah.
He says it could be fitness security.
Fitness or control security
Or-
to pick someone up and put them in a pod,
Yeah.
and then control medicine to activate the pod and do the things necessary to heal them.
Sefik can assist with. Sefik's total for control and security is 13.
Okay.
My one is 4 and 11.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll assist.
Yeah.
Alright.
My control is a 9. My fitness is a 10, though. My security is crap.
How many momentum do we have left?
You
2.
have 2.
If I use 2 momentum, do I get 4 dice?
Only if you're the main roller, not if you're assisting. Like if you're the main, if
Oh,
you're
no.
assisting, you just roll 1 dice. But if you're the main roller, then I do 1 for momentum, so you would get 4.
Okay. I'll do that. Wait, is that okay if I do that? If I use 2 momentum?
Which
Or
one
should
are
I
you
just
doing?
use one
Control
momentum?
security?
Yeah, control security.
Okay. Does no one have a better security than a con officer?
Oh no, I'm
I have a
security.
2 security, unfortunately.
I thought Sevik was. I thought am I? Oh, Karava. Sorry. For some reason, Karava's voice and Chortle's voice sounds similar to me. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Karava. Sorry.
She'll I'll just use one momentum just in case.
Okay.
But 3 dice. Athletics, focus. That's good.
Nice. You got what you needed. So you got Mr. Soth Charon in the pod. Now we just need the medical roll.
Is it difficulty 2 again?
For medicine, yeah, but complication range is 4.
Okay, so I think we have a total of 2 momentum now because Sevic's help with that
Yep.
carry, right? I will
Alright,
use
so
both of those.
All right.
I will help him with this on
Okey-doke.
here. So how do I help?
You just roll 1 dice, the same roll, control medicine. Ooh, nice.
All right.
3, 4, 5. So you got 5
So
total.
So it's 1 dice with 3 complication, or what is it?
I think it's 1 dice with 1 task roll with 4 complication range.
Okay, hopefully this helps.
It did.
All right. So I'm gonna say that's a total of 5 successes because I'm just allowing for this one task. I'm just allowing 1 assist.
Oh
But
shit! What? Oh shit! Did I? Oh crap! Am I late?
I mean, we're pretty much done. So yeah,
Shit!
it's life. It's fine. But I'll do a quick
Shit.
recap afterwards. But yeah, so
Yeah, I'm
basically,
so sorry about that. Fuck.
it's all right. But trust me, it happens.
I think you're mostly in the coma anyway.
It is what it is.
No, actually, Corvinus was one of the ones not in a coma. So yeah, basically, with 5 successes, that gives you 3 momentum, and I'm surprised you didn't get a complication there. But as Charon is saying the last bit of what he was saying, he wakes up, the pod opens, everyone hears it, the Commodore gives him a look like, really? He's like, really?
A pointless training accident.
He's like, really? Pointless,
Oh,
huh?
I'm actually going to note that because
It
that's
like
going to
took
make
him a
him.
minute to realize he was even in the pod. He was just spewing half of that out.
Yeah, right.
I don't, yeah. Hopefully, just the and to die in a training incident bit at the end. But either way, he's going to be incredibly embarrassed and be extremely internally angry about that. He wants to break people's jaws, but he won't until he gets them alone.
Yep.
Yukina's just working on the console, just acts like she didn't hear it.
All right.
But
Cadet Dorton suggests that he might asks if he needs an appointment with her next week.
I think everybody.
Well,
needs an
before you do
appointment.
that, before we get onto that, and he restrains himself from saying the word nonsense. Before we get onto that, because of course he's in a pod, he's got limited vision. Where's Valak?
He's there.
He's over there.
Right here. Right away.
Good.
I'm going to take a medical tricorder, and I want to scan my arms.
Well,
Something weird happened.
Well, when you look down, when you woke up in the pod, you had your normal metal arms back.
Okay, I was just making sure something weird didn't happen.
Yeah. No. So the pod that you guys were put in is a quantum scanner and kind of like DNA resequence. Like it's on the quantum level, it basically manipulates particles and molecules to fix things, and that's why the difficulty was, and the complication ranges was where they were. But basically, you're able to get out and just look at the pod's sensor data, and it tells you everything you need to know.
Okay.
I mean, the one thing you do find out, well, actually, the first thing you need to do is figure out how to get rid of these subspace eddies, and then you'll pretty much be done. Who's good at science besides Runa? Because Runa's kind of out for right now.
I'm as good at science as I am at medicine.
I have a 4 on science.
All right, so if anyone wants to make a reason or insight science roll with the modified tricorder, difficulty, I'll say difficulty 1. You can. You can't really assist with this because it's kind of a personal tricorder thing, but
yeah, I can do this. I have a reason or insight of 10 both, and I have a science of 4. So
cool. I mean, anyone can roll it. It's like I said, it's a personal thing. So,
Right.
Whoa!
Oh, that did not go well.
He's looking at the tricorder, and then the Commodore just walks over, takes it, turns it back from upside down, and puts it back in his hand.
Oh no.
Yep.
I would like to think it's more of I try to use it, and my arm's starting to glitch out from the glass shards that have impaled my mechanical arm.
Yeah, that's way better for the story than what I said. But yeah, so
I just pass it off to somebody else. I'm like, here, you do it. I can't.
all right, who's
Velik will do it.
all right?
'cause
Reason.
He's scientific.
Yep.
I have a question.
For what is this test exactly? Sorry.
Scanning the subspace eddies and figuring out like where they came from, how they're there,
Right.
how to get rid of them, basically.
So quantum mechanics then.
Yeah, and Corvinus, what were you saying?
I was just trying to figure out what the hell was Corvinus doing the whole time because of the whole I rolled 2 complications from remembering. I rolled several complications internally, and so I honestly have no idea what the hell Corvinus is.
The good thing is, Commander Scon, a Vulcan security chief for the campus, came up and needed some cadet volunteers to cordon off the area. So we can say that your character was off doing that, and then we can kind of recap it afterwards and everything like that.
Yeah.
So,
All right, sounds good.
Nice roll, Cadet Bellic. So you guys are up to 5 momentum. Not that you'll need it because you're almost done. So when you start scanning, well, first of all, what do you start scanning first? Do you start with the subspace eddies? Do you start with the EPS conduit? Do you start with Tanner? Like, where do you start?
The eddies first. Definitely.
The what? The eddies?
The eddies.
So when you scan the eddies, you find within the quote unquote bubbles themselves what look to be brainwave patterns, and you see that they're kind of formed by particles of some sort. So it's not like a thin bubble as you might think. I know we called them bubbles, but they're not bubbles. It's basically just a group of particles that formed in the subspace realm. But basically, what you discover is they obviously came from the direction of the explosion. So you move the tricorder over, and you see that the EPS conduit, when it exploded, some sort of resonance happened to where the particles that are in the subspace eddies matched with the 15% of Tanner's body that was out of phase with the rest of reality. And so then you move the tricorder over to Tanner, and you see everything's fine with him. His 15% of his molecules are fine. But then you move the tricorder over to one of the ones that are like unconscious, or one of the people that were kind of in the were placed in the pod, and you find what looks to be memory engrams in their heads. Basically not false, but some sort of implanted memories. And of course you go back and forth, you're looking at all this data, and you realize that the subspace layer that they were in was actually created by the mind of Instructor Tanner. Like, it didn't exist before he was kind of yanked out of that inverted warp field. And then once his molecules became out of phase with reality, that basically made it so that the EPS explosion basically just made everything worse. And the subspace layer that he ended up in was kind of like a mentally created one, and that he basically pulled in multiple other people with him when that explosion happened. So definitely going to write up a paper about that as far as like a medical or scientific journal. If someone wants to do that, then I'll give them a commendation for that. But yeah, it's.
I mean, I'm already in it because I'm like completely crazy, and Tanner's appearing in my head. So I guess this is like more of a. It makes sense,
It makes sense to him. He's like, yeah, it figures.
Yeah, exactly. It's Tanner all along. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, is there anything else that you guys are doing before we come to the last scene?
From that scan, did it give any indication of how to deal with it, like getting the scanning device that was improperly teleported more fully repaired and using that to fix it, or is that
No,
beyond the results of the information?
The quantum scanning pod is in like 99.99% perfect condition. The pod isn't the issue. The issue was the EPS conduit that it intersected. The pod itself is made out of indestructium, which cannot be apparently destroyed by intersecting with a bulkhead. So basically, effectively what you're discovering is the combination of the EPS conduit exploding and the combination of Tanner having 15% of his molecules being out of phase basically created this perfect storm of subspace delusions. So, for example, the people that were in this subspace layer, their bodies were actually physically on the floor, but in their minds, they were seeing the sick bay or the corridor, and that's why they couldn't see anybody because there was nobody else in that subspace layer with them. So essentially,
well, now that
go ahead.
Now that Tanner's been fed into the machine successfully, albeit the results aren't as immediately prominent, is the growing trend of the bubbles in reverse? Are they stable? Are they still growing?
They're not moving around the room and they're not growing, but they're still there.
Right.
So when they were scanned and you discovered the brainwave patterns, it's relatively easy to determine that they were the brainwave patterns that were copied from Tanner. So once he's awake, they should go away. But that's a big should. And we won't really know until the next game because, Tanner's not, Josh isn't here to play his character and I'm not going to NPC him. I mean, I could just be like, oh, he wakes up but I think I like the mystery of Josh showing up to the next game and being like, so what happened? And I explained, well, you have to wake up in order to figure out what happened, and also all these subspace eddies are still kind of around. Now you could obviously with that scan, if you wanted to spend a momentum. Actually, you rolled a 2, you rolled a 3, which I think that's way more higher than you needed. So yeah, I would say that with that scan, you have a good idea of how, number one, once he wakes up, they will kind of fade out into normal subspace. But you also can figure out a way to mimic, kind of replicate something to basically so that the subspace eddies kind of fade into subspace on their own. But that's story. Like, I'm not going to make you roll for that. That's kind of something that's just a simple, we do that. Okay, it's done. So, is there any other questions or anything anyone wants to do? Because there is one scene that I would like to do, before we end.
I'm just fighting with my arm. Everything else, no.
Now that Soth is back into the real world, longer term, and in the please continue.
Yes, all people see is like these shards of glass and metal sticking out the arm. No blood, but you can't actually tell that it's a mechanical arm because it has a sleeve and a glove on it.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay, then I think medical cadets would kind of be worried about that then.
But yeah, in the medium to long term, Soth has lots of things he wants to do. But in the short or immediate term, all he wants to do is safely guide everybody out and shift them about, etc. Other than that, nothing major right now.
All right. Let's see. All right. So once you guys get situated, the subspace eddies are taken care of, etc. Commander Scon grabs Cadet Kavrinas and goes to the infirmary and says, I need all of the cadets that are conscious in my office in 15 minutes. And then he just walks away with Cadet Corvinus to his office. I'm going to switch the scene up to...
we got past the eddies, I take it then.
Yeah, I said that wasn't going to require a roll because at this point the rolls are going to be redundant, and I'd rather just he rolled.
If I see anybody that,
go ahead.
Yeah, if I see anybody that looks like they might be mechanic or whatnot person, engineer, literally just start, literally in the middle of everybody, just see my character starting to just slip out of the uniform to get that arm out, and literally detaches it in front of everybody and hands it off to somebody. Go, can you fix this?
Soth will note this, but he's presumably seen these kinds of prosthetics before. It's like, oh, that's not that weird, but okay.
Interesting to know.
But she's just like, yeah, but she has no. I've written her to the point she doesn't have a concept of what's the word?
Social norm. In that sort
humility.
of way,
she doesn't. The body isn't something that she's that worried about like everybody else.
She's not getting embarrassed.
In her mind. Yeah, she doesn't. She just like, this needs to get taken care of, please. So she doesn't care that she's undressing in front of everybody to get the arm out.
All right. Let's see. Corvinus is asked to sit here. Scon is going to be in his chair. He says, good work today, cordoning off the area. I'm going to bring everyone in here, so I'm not singling anyone out. But there's a mission that needs to be undertaken, and I've been asked to, along with a few other instructors and staff, to tag a few cadets who might be interested in it. It's going to be an off-world mission. It's going to it's basically going to continue to train the cadets. We might leave Soth here since he seems to think that it's a pointless training exercise. But I basically just want to know if you would be interested in something like that, Cadet Corvinus.
Out of character question, is
Commander Scott, yep.
Yes. Commander, I do believe, without a doubt, that it would be necessary. It would be. Sorry, I'm sorry, out of character. I'm just trying to articulate things.
That's all right.
All right. Commander, I believe that it would be. It would. It would be worth the time when it comes to utilizing additional training. Knowing what to do off-world could serve as some assistance, Commander.
It's good to know you feel that way. I would like you to go bring, once I dismiss you, I would like you to go find Cadets Ja'aran and Velik and tell them to meet me in my office, please. And keep this little mission opportunity between us, if you don't mind. For now.
Understood, Commander. Understood, Commander.
Thank you. You're dismissed.
As I walk out, I suppose I'll go straight to those individuals and let them know.
All right. And we'll say this is probably about 10 or 15 minutes after the incident. You guys have been kind of dismissed from the infirmary to go act, do whatever your normal. They probably gave you the rest of the day off, honestly, along with everyone else. The quarantine and the cordon has been lifted, as the engineering and medical or science disaster has kind of been taken care of. So where would Velik and Ja'aran be? They can be separate, they can be together. It's up to y'all.
Where is Tanner at the moment?
Tanner is still in bed because Josh isn't here.
Oof.
Right.
He's physically fine though.
Okay, so he can be approached and spoken to and stuff like that.
Well, he might hear you. No, because he's still unconscious. Yeah, him, Runa, and Grimlow, I believe, are still unconscious.
Yep.
Well, I will approach. In this case, I approach Soth. I think. Is that your name, Soth, in game?
Yes, Soth first name, Sharan.
Yeah.
So it's your family name.
Yeah. And I call everyone by their family name because military.
Right.
Yep.
So, cadets, do you have anything to do at the moment?
Well, when you approach Soth, you'll find that what he's doing is he's not doing anything for himself or tending to himself until he's satisfied that everybody who was in there has been sort of removed and is safe. And I know we've got sort of 10, 15 minutes, so he's not going to have time to wander off to his quarters or anything like that. But he'll probably be approaching the end period of having checked in with everyone and gone, okay, they're fine. Don't need to do anything now. Good. And then he'll turn around to Velik, and whilst Soth has his back to everybody except Velik, he's still got burnt clothes on. He will. Velik might notice a moment where Soth looks very vexed, and then he's like putting on a mask. It just he goes into the slightly jovial attitude and says, I think we're supposed to be rallying in the not overly distant future, but for the next few moments, now that it appears everybody has got out more or less in one piece, nothing much. You said that you thought you had something behind you in there, though, I think. Something creeping about. How are you doing?
It's subsided for now, I think. I haven't seen it for a while. Hopefully it will subside in time. Who knows? But I was hoping I could probably steal you from somewhere. I really don't want to go to the counselor. I'm not in the mood.
Not in the mood for
I
that
can hardly
bullshit.
blame you, Velik. Who wants to let one of them in your head? How can I help?
Yes, so if you don't have anything, we could probably go somewhere and spend the day there. I don't know.
Absolutely. I imagine we're going to have a lot to groan about, but I think we're supposed to be reporting to the officer in a few minutes. But after that, so long as he doesn't give us any immediate orders to go rushing about anywhere, I don't see why not. And I've got a couple things that I can recommend to you as a bit of a social lubricant. He smiles and chuckles a little at that.
It's not my forte, but I suppose.
Oh, don't worry. I'll overcompensate for us both.
Oh, I'm sure you will, yes.
That was an in-character chuckle.
Yeah, I was like, I hope so.
You have. Yes.
Sorry, what did you say,
want, whichever suggestions you have for this whole social thing. Apparently, I'm supposed to get more social with the humans around here. I find them weird. But...
He gestures at himself and goes, I know that all sorts of species start blending together and looking the same, but I'm blue! When he makes the human reference.
No, I'll just go.
Is that supposed to be a racial comment, Cadet?
He just laughs at that as well. The idea that he could possibly be confused for a human. But he'll think about like patting Velik on the shoulder, and he'll sort of like socially judge. Like, is Velik in a shoulder patting kind of mood? If so, he'll proceed. If not, he'll hold back. And say,
Velik will look at you and say, you've been doing this for a couple of times now. Is this supposed to mean something?
Well, yes. The first time, I have to admit, it was a jovial slant on an actual serious experiment, which was or test rather, experiment's too high a word, to see if we could touch one another whilst in the subspace realm without passing through one another or something disastrous occurring. But now it's just a bit more, general camaraderie. Come on, you have to have seen it from the others.
Well, I guess I'll have to get used to it then. I still don't understand it, but fine.
Oh, don't worry. I imagine we'll not be understanding a lot of things, but going along with it. I mean, how much of all of that escapade a few minutes ago did you understand?
Well, I mean, I still found it fun because of the whole scientific idea behind it, but yeah. I didn't understand much.
Exactly the point I'm getting at.
This is the
You didn't
both of you are
understand it?
talking. Corvinus is literally right behind you, Velik.
Velik just doesn't. He
Yeah, Velik.
doesn't like.
I'm trying to
Velik,
figure out how to put the
soft.
book bag back on. I'm trying to figure out how to carry this bag without an arm.
But exactly the point that I was getting at, Velik. You didn't understand what was going along, but you went along with it perfectly well and even enjoyed it, to your own words.
Yes. I guess we can get used to it. Sure.
But Commander needs you.
Ah! Very
Oh,
well,
yeah.
very well.
We have a commander waiting for us, I suppose.
Oh, and thank you, Corvinus, thank you. And
I apologize for appearing from right behind you. I wasn't sure when with the right time to intervene into your conversation would be. So, my apologies.
So, no need to apologise, Corvinus, and I have to remember you've got pad feet. He grins a bit at that. But, you know,
A slight crack of a smile just slightly appears on Corvinus's face, like could have even heard a sputter.
Mission success. So Soth will presumably with Velik start heading off towards the commander, but he will pause for a moment and just to ask very briefly. You came out of it all right, though, didn't you, Corvinus?
Yes, yeah, it came out well, but I was wondering if you were doing all right after the whole situation.
Oh, well, a bit of he sort of gestures to his back in the burnt uniform, and he just says, a bit of a uniform, bit of a scratch, and he leans in and whispers, because of course Corvinus wasn't in the room at the time, and before you hear, and this is a whisper, and before you hear it from others, perhaps a little bit of wounded dignity.
Is it still going, or am I dead?
Maybe a little bit of both.
Oh God!
You're dead, and this is hell.
That's for him. And yeah, Soth is just thinking he'll work out his furious rage at that later. But
Corvinus is just quietly raising his eyebrows, similar to like how the Rock would do it.
Puts a slight smile on Soth's face. But we'll talk more, Corvinus. We can't keep the CO waiting.
I will come. I believe it would be nice to accompany you, if that's acceptable.
Of course, always welcome.
All right.
All right, so you guys are heading to the commander's office, or the chief of security's office specifically. But before we get to that, since Grimlow's back, I'm going to do something in the infirmary. Let's see. If anybody, by the way, wants to be in the infirmary as Grimlow is waking up, then you may. Grimlow.
We didn't get pulled away.
Sorry, what was that? Oh, he left
didn't
again.
get pulled away.
I was checking in for a second. I'm getting. Oh, okay. I thought he got here, and so I thought he was going to be here for a bit, but I guess not. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
I was about to have him wake up, but I guess he wants to stay dead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, I know. Roll. Fuck. Let me look at your character sheet real quick. Your daring is a 7. Wow, so tempting. Roll a control and command. Difficulty 3, complication range 3.
Basically, can I
You have 5
spend
momentum,
3?
so
Yeah, I'm gonna use spend 3 momentum.
all right. What did I say difficulty was? 3? Okay. So you are at 3 momentum. So you are still in this dark room, kind of staring at Tanner as he's like glitching out in front of you. And for you, it's only been a few seconds. And then it all begins to fade away, and you start to your eyes open and you see. Let me move this back. You see over to your right is Grimlow on the bed. Over to your left is the Chief Medical Officer, Aro. The nurse is kind of, scanning Grimlow or something. The Commodore is over there acting as Chief Medical Officer until someone can kind of take over. And you see Tanner lying on the bed. But out of the corner of your eye as you wake up, you can see a figure in the corner. And you can swear as you're lying there, you look over, you see another version of Tanner standing there, but he's gone a split second later. We'll leave you to think about that for a moment when we head back over to the security office.
Yep.
All right. So, cadets.
We just got Veliked. How does that feel?
Yes, you have. Science. Velic, okay. You guys, we'll say, you hit the chime. He tells you to enter. You enter. How do you enter the commander's office? I'm interested to know.
Well, Soth, when he's sort of on the far side of the door, stood to the side, so if the door were to open suddenly, he wouldn't be visible. He'll he'll do the sort of the Picard maneuver, get his uniform as smart as it can be, given the fact that he had something explode at his back. And when he is eventually brought in, unless this isn't in line with Starfleet protocols, he will do the whole sharply, smartly march in, standing firmly until invited to relax, sit down, etc. He's being formal until invited otherwise.
All right. Well, he's not going to invite you to relax. How does Soth enter?
That was Soth. You mean Velik?
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Velik just enters as. Yeah.
You know how I am with voices. You all sound the same. All right.
Velik enters, with his hand behind his back as per usual, and stands up to attention.
All right. I need both of you to make a presence command difficulty 2 roll. And Velik, increase your complication range to 3.
Since we've got momentum hanging about, I'll only use 1 because it's a small social roll, which I should leave 2 left. But Soth desperately wants to protect his dignity now.
I bet.
It's difficulty 2.
I will use a value.
Oh wow! Okay, he really wants to be at attention. All right.
Oh yes.
What's the value?
And so I'll use self-governance or
nice.
autonomy, as it were.
Nice.
Yeah, because I think it fits for this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right.
Ooh.
So the good news is,
and
you didn't get a complication.
Carry on.
The
good news is I didn't get a complication. I don't think it's worth using a determination at this point.
Right. The other good news is, no matter what Velik rolls, he succeeded. He just needs to not get a complication.
Or this.
So you get a momentum back up. All right. Do you want to spend a 2 momentum to get rid of the complication?
You know what? I think it's fine. Let's keep it.
Let's see what happens. All right. So you enter. You try to. You're half Vulcan. This man is a Vulcan. And then there's this Andorian. And so of course the half Vulcan is like, Velik is like looking smart and rigid and just standing at attention. The commander looks up as you both enter, and you could tell that he's watching you he's watching he's watching every movement you make, and you stand there at attention. Does anyone say anything?
I am tempted to say no, but I will do, or rather Soth will do, as is appropriate to standard Starfleet protocol in this instance, as in, he's presumably been trained about what to do on parade and etc., etc., and how that differs from reality, I don't know. So he'll do whatever is expected of a Starfleet officer in that scenario, in formal mode.
So it doesn't require an insight roll to know that you'd walk in, you stand at attention, you'd say so and so reporting as ordered or something to that effect. So assuming I'm putting that in with the 2 rolls that you guys made, and when Soth says that. The commander stands up slowly and looks at you both, and he says, I have a mission off-world that requires a science officer and a security officer. You're obviously not officers yet, but close enough for now anyway. We are going to be opening up the first academy campus in the Gamma Quadrant. And we have our staff and our officers, but we need a couple of cadets to kind of be the, so to speak, he kind of for a moment looks up with a raised eyebrow to think of the right word, and he says, to be the vanguard that will guide the rest of the cadets, the younger cadets, the year ones next year. At the moment you're both year ones, but next year you'll be sophomores, and I'm asking you if that is something that you would be interested in doing. This is a voluntary thing only.
Out of character question, based on the fact that it's in the Gamma Quadrant, and what with the slipstream drive technology and so forth, what is the status of speed and reliability of communication between San Francisco and the Gamma Quadrant at this point?
I mean, it's the same as it was basically in Deep Space Nine. You have the wormhole. You do have a more advanced transportation technology, the subspace relays. Like, everything is pretty much the same. The only difference is the political landscape is not great, especially in the Gamma Quadrant with the Dominion and the Infamous. And, I mean, there's probably a 50% chance of dying, but they have the campus.
All of that is a positive.
they have a campus, and they only want certain cadets. They don't want, like, year one cadets that going there immediately. They want to send people who they know can handle themselves in a situation first to kind of suss things out.
All of those things are massive positives, including the danger. In fact, if this were a role, I'd be leaning on Soth's, like, when in doubt, attack value.
Wow.
About it's like
yeah.
It's just a case of, like, forward into danger, huzzah.
All right.
But so he's definitely up for it. The only reason I asked that question is about, if papers need to be submitted, if communications. Would that get in the way? Seems not.
No, because I mean the wormhole is the main way of communication between the 2 quadrants, and it's Deep Space Nine is still a Bajoran owned and operated facility, and it's also a Starfleet facility since Bajor is now in the Federation. So it's really just like a bunch of relays set up so that the Gamma Quadrant is as easily accessible as possible.
Excellent. Well, in that case, unless Velik wants to chip in first. Or Z has questions, Soth will smartly and enthusiastically reply with words to the effect of, "Happy to volunteer, sir."
He will just look over to Velik after that.
So, Chief, are we going to be able to see the people here, the cadets here? After we transfer?
Out of character, what does he mean by that? Like,
so as in, like, are we ever going to be able to come back here?
Oh,
or is this,
well, the commander says yes. You will be there for a semester. If you wish to come back, transfer to the campus here, or any other campus for that matter, you will be free to do so. We simply need the first semester to set up the place and get it ready for future cadets.
I see. And how long do you think that will take?
I mean, it will probably be ongoing. for the foreseeable several years at least. But with the first semester is the critical, the first 4 to 6 months is the critical time frame, because once we arrive there, we'll need to set up diplomacy with the Dominion and the others powers there. We'll need to ensure that there's nothing around that's going to threaten the campus or the planet that it's based on. We'll need to, and he like lists off like a half a dozen other things that will need to be done before cadets could even step foot there. So he's like, it's going to be pretty much the hardest work any of you have ever had to do, most likely.
Very well. This will be a Starfleet collaborative project, I assume, as in several species and races will be present.
On paper,
things like that.
On paper, it's going to be Starfleet only because it's the Starfleet Academy campus. But in practice, we will be having other militaries serve as our protection detail, since Starfleet is primarily concerned at the moment with exploring the far reaches of the Alpha and Beta quadrants, as well as the wormhole to the other galaxy and a few other things. But and we will have places set up for a Klingon and a Cardassian facility for training, but again, this is primarily a Starfleet Academy campus.
Very well. I do have one request, and I'd rather discuss it in private.
He perks a brow at that. He says
Soth does everything he can to not perk a brow at that. He wants to, but he's remaining composed.
He asks, what kind of request is this something that a Starfleet commander should be aware of, or is this something that Starfleet Command should be aware of?
I suppose it's more of a personal quest. That is why I am discussing it with you. It could be because of our ancestry, if you will, and I sort of hint.
He narrows his eyes, like, you mean we're both Vulcan?
More or less, yes.
Okay.
It's very personal, and I would discuss it with you. But of course, that is on the side. I am of course I am volunteer for this.
If he wasn't Vulcan, he would probably say something like, "Oh, he'll pretend to look at his watch and be like, oh, is it time for Ponfar already?"
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Like if there weren't a senior officer here, if there weren't a senior officer here, Soth would just be like, "Oh, come on, stop being horny for 5 minutes." He won't know.
Commander Scon nods to Savelic and says, "Well, put the request in officially with Starfleet Command, and they'll see what they can do. Otherwise, I'm simply the security chief. I was only asked to vet cadets and get their interest level in this venture. So you'll have to put that in writing with Command."
As I said, you have your volunteer.
All right. Dismissed. I need you to find Cadet Snowpaw, Cadet Karava. I was going to say Sevik, but Sevik bounced out. Oh, Sevik, welcome back. And Cadet Sevik. So basically the 3 remaining people in this chat. Go and get them. And oh, by the way, keep this between us for the moment. Dismissed.
Yes, sir. And then, as smart as he can manage, and in no way, how to phrase it. Actually, there's no point going into it. As smartly as he can, he'll parade out, and then the moment he's out, he'll be a bit more relaxed, a bit more free, and go presumably with Velik to round up the remaining recruits.
What does he say? What is Cha'aran, and I guess Velik too, but what do y'all say? I mean, I'm assuming that Velik doesn't want to say anything, to Commander Scon. What do you guys say once you get out into the corridor? Do you talk about this, or like, what do you say specifically, if anything?
Well, Soth is very aware that they're supposed to remain mum, and once you're out in the corridor, you never know who's listening. So, without going into any form of specific or anything along those lines, he will lean in slightly towards Velik with a slight gleam in his eye and a little conspiratorial smile, and just say, "Well, I think this is going to be fun, eh?"
I guess we shall see.
Also,
I don't hold
carry
out
on.
hope.
This is the sort of thing that even the original Starfleet, even before Starfleet, would have been getting involved in this sort of a stuff. It's a page straight out of the old days.
True, but we need it.
Oh yes. So
Why?
Sorry, out of character, I may have slightly misheard you there, Z. I think Velik just said, "Oh, yes, but we need it."
No, he asked basically, do we need it? Is this something we would be interested in?
Well, purely privately, but Soth will not voice this. That's part of his motivation for all of this isn't just his, gung ho attitude and his keenness, although that's all real and genuine. But there's also a bit in the back of his mind that's going, commendation, graduate strongly, mention in dispatches, but he won't say that. He will, however, say, well, I think it'll be good for you and I personally, but also it'll be a marvel for Starfleet, the Academy, reputation of us all. Of course there are risks. But there's never anything gained without a certain degree of risk. And I think it'll be well worth it. Even if it does all go horribly wrong, we can at least learn from it, eh? And he smiles.
Or if we lose a limb.
Tell you what, I will stick by you, and let's hope your positivity and optimism checks out.
Less optimism, more laughing at the gallows. He says. But yeah, I'm sorry. What?
Possible loss of possible appendages remaining in the field.
This is very much a damn the torpedoes attitude. It's not so much optimism. It's more. It's harder to define, but you know what I'm getting at. And yes, and Velik, whilst my attitude may carry us somewhat through, I think your sober and serious reflection will stand us in equally good stead.
Sober, huh? Well, I don't drink, so you are right.
Sort of comedically rolls his eyes at that, but it clearly there's no offense or smite. He's just playing it up, and we'll smile at Velik, and say, oh, well, what would you prefer? Serious, heavy, or well, I think sober is a good. No, carry on.
I might be trying too hard here, but this is the way that I try and build bonds, if you will, with others. So if I come out a bit too strong, then I do not mean it, of course. And you seem like a good cadet. So
I never thought you meant anything by any accidental awkwardness or offence or anything along those lines. Of course you don't mean it. Anyone can tell, unless they happen to be particularly dense. But
I have heard the exact opposite, but yes. I appreciate it. Certainly.
Yes. And, well, yes, you say I seem like a good cadet, you seem like a good cadet too. I'm sure that so long as we both survive this little trip, that will be... Well, we'll be fine and remarkable officers.
As you say that, Commander Scon walks up behind you and says,
"We are far away from this guy. If there's any sound behind us,
no, I know you're walking down the corridor.
Hell up.
I know you're walking down the corridor, but so is Commander Scon, and you hear him say, because I mean you're kind of far from the hospital, which is Karava and Sevik and Snowpaw. Are you guys still at the hospital, or are you guys somewhere else?
Hang on.
How much time has passed since?
What? We weren't just standing around in a corridor doing nothing. We were going getting people. We were moving.
I know.
That was the
But
idea. Yeah.
At this
Yeah.
point, I probably would have headed to the cafeteria to get something to eat, just because this is just annoying.
yeah. Um,
I lost an arm, and now I have to go get something to eat. Fuck it.
yeah. How's he gonna eat with one? I mean, well, I guess he'll have to be really careful. Um,
She will, yes.
so assuming Karaba is Karaba with in the mess hall, or did Karaba go somewhere else? Not hearing anything.
I'm not hearing anything either.
Okay, well he unmuted and then muted, so I don't know. Sevik, what about you? Where's Sevik? Don't hear Sevik either. What did Durlock say his issue was? I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure that's probably what it
Oh,
is.
the broadcasting.
Okay, yeah. Well, I don't know if it's that.
He fixed that, but yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say maybe they're having the same issue, but I know Chortles was going in and out of voice chat, but um, anyway, let's
Can you hear me?
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, can hear you now.
Cravo will probably be doing some guard duty around the medical bay, around the medical area.
Okay, so he volunteered for extra duty. Okay. So it's suffice it to say that people are the three of you are not in the same place. You're spread out. So while Soth and Z are walking down the corridor talking, how do they expect to find these three individuals who are spread out all over the campus? Just me as a GM, my curiosity.
Well, what I'm expecting is once we get to like the area where we were last vaguely gathered, about 20 minutes ago at this point, if they're not there, it'll be on the on the communicators like, where are you?
I was gonna say nobody has in the last 45 minutes. Nobody has thought, let's just hit the combat and be like, hey, go to this office.
Yeah.
The Gilded Voice works with desktop, but not the mobile app. Make sure you're clicking on when you're on the mobile app with voice chat, just like with Durlock. Make sure. Oh, he's not even here.
Yeah, I just had to momentarily use the mobile app for a minute, but I'm back now on my desktop. Sorry about that.
As far as Sevik goes, if anyone looked for him, they'd mainly find.
Yeah, I think with the I heard half of that, but I think one of the problems is if you're using push to talk or any other button like broadcast, if your finger, like in my case, if my finger moved at all, it would come off, the broadcast would stop. It would not transmit my voice. So I suggest taking it off at least for the moment. Yeah, pressing the push to talk. Same thing with push to talk because it's so small, and this app is not like Discord where like if you press it, it's easy. You can easily tell. Oh, I'm pressing this button. Actually, Discord isn't that good at it either. But basically, if you move your thumb or your finger at all, it's basically like it's not doing it. So I would take it off if you can for for now while talking, and then either mute yourself or put it back on. Because I heard you say that you were.
Really
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I'm yelling at my computer because every single thing that somebody puts in the chat room is popping up on the right side of my computer. Like a notification. I got to figure out how to stop it from doing that.
Oh, I think you have to go into Discord settings to do it. But go ahead, Chortles, try again. I heard like the first half of what you said, but.
I mean, I'm on desktop right now, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then if it's not mobile, then.
Yeah, I would say that if anyone looked for Sevik, they'd outside of his quarters, they'd find him on a bench outside of the academy grounds on his pad, and if they looked over, it would be him not so subtly looking at what passes for the school newspaper.
Oh, okay.
If anyone asks, he'd answer simply. People tend to behave more to what they believe happened than to what actually happened.
Yeah, you'll notice that the a lot of the recent events of the Academy is mysteriously absent from the paper as far as details. Like it would say, "Oh, there was something happened in the hospital, and they cordoned it off and quarantined it, and that's pretty much it. Like it's very vague. But once you two find the location of these three individuals using your comm badge or computer or whatever, um, assuming you're in the main building, the next, probably the closest next building would be the cafeteria. So I'm assuming that you're gonna go for the closest individual, Snowpaw in the cafeteria. Is that right, Soth and Bellic?
So, yeah, that does make sense. However, the officer who is presumably still waiting patiently in his office uh, wants it done sharpish. Once it's clear that not everybody's in the same place, Soth will suggest that they split up, meet again later for a conversation, and so they can get people faster. So Bellic does one, Soth does another, etc.
Okay. So I will tell you that you get the idea based on what he initially, what Commander Scott initially said about, I'm gonna call you guys to my office. I want you to go find them. Blah blah blah. Like he doesn't want a bunch of communiques broadcasted over subspace about this. For some unknown reason, he is kind of hush hush about it. So it's up to you. Like if you just want to say, like you said, just get their initial locations and then split up and go get them together and et cetera, et cetera. Then that's fine.
Soth was already thinking that. Yeah, he's only going to be using broadcast, as it were, to work out where they are, not actually communicate anything of substance, and then do everything else face to face.
Okay. All right. So let's jump to where you guys. We'll say Snowpaw, Savick, and Karava, you guys have met just outside of the security office after the other two went to get you. How do you enter? I'm not going to make you roll for this one. I made them roll for a specific reason that will come up much later. But how do you guys want to enter? Do you just want to enter like, oh, this is just another day, or do you like rigidly walk in at attention like Bellic and Soth?
Cravo will walk in rigidly at attention. Was he still on duty?
Ditto for Cadet Savick, although if the Commodore were to make an insight roll, he might find that that one of Savick's arms is just slightly misaligned enough that it could be holding something behind his back. Perhaps
oh my word!
The pad.
I see. Well, in that case, he will look to Savick immediately because he's a Vulcan and a security chief and would notice that. Now, if you want to roll, like he's trying to hide it, then you can roll. It would be an opposed roll.
Oh no, I'm not. Oh no, I wouldn't.
Okay,
For this.
didn't think so. But he looks and he says, in the most obvious attempt at Vulcan humor, and he says, Mr. Savick, I see you brought me a gift.
Perhaps. Depending on how you take, depending on whether you have anything to do with the school newspaper, the school journal.
He perks a brow and he says, I am the chief of security. I do not deal with the journalism of the academy.
Then I have only observation. Then I have only observations, which I have not yet, which I will analyze at a different time.
He nods.
Despite that,
go ahead.
I don't know. I was just just concluding at a different time.
Okay, he just nods, and unlike the others, he gestures to Karava and Snowpaw and Sevik, and gestures to the two chairs, and watches as they decide who's going to take the two chairs. This is
Yukin,
Vulcan.
or sorry,
This is Vulcan musical chairs.
Yukina just goes and sits down. She doesn't give a
Okay,
shit.
I figured. She's the one who's injured after all.
And she's still trying to also. She's
Sevek
also
doesn't
trying
bother.
to.
Same with Karava. She just sits down as well.
All right.
Yes, Sevek doesn't bother making an attempt for either one.
Okay.
Yukina just walked over and sat down like you'd expect a cat to do. Type of deal.
But Sevek didn't try to make a move.
All right. So
She's still trying to fiddle with her sleeve, trying to like keep her uniform from sliding down constantly.
I see. He looks but from Sevik to Snowpaw's paw or arm. And does she still have the arm off, or is it back on?
It hasn't been repaired yet, so.
Okay, so it's still in engineering or wherever. Um,
Yeah.
He says Starfleet has made and the Federation have made incredible scientific and medical advances in prosthetics and biomimetic limb replacements. Why haven't you sought one of those options?
I did, though it's being repaired right now.
Well, what I mean is
She
they could.
slides it down to show
He says.
where it attaches.
Sorry, what was that?
She slides the arm over to show where the arm normally actually attaches.
He nods and says, "Well, what I mean is they could actually grow you a new arm that you would not have to attach or reattach or charge."
Yes. That's a little more difficult with the amount of surgery and replacements and other things that they've done. It would take a lot more time to take all that out and then regrow new arms at this point.
I see.
You know what I mean?
And he just jumps into the conversation. He says, "I have gathered you here to ask for volunteers for a mission into the Gamma Quadrant. We are setting up a base, and we need medical staff, helmsmen, and security officers, and you three are those." And I was wondering, and again, I've only been tasked by the commandant of Starfleet Academy, Commandant Massey, to ask if you would be interested and to volunteer. If not, then that's fine. I need no reason. I just need to know an answer. And if you need some time to think about it, then that is an option as well. He kind of looks at all three of you.
Yukina will pop up. I only just arrived here about like a couple weeks ago. I think a little hard to remember at this point. My stuff hasn't even arrived from the last place I just came from. I don't really know anybody yet. So for me, transferring to another place, I haven't even gotten used to this one, so it's not that big of a deal.
He looks over to Sevik and Karava.
Karava looks contemplative. Yes, it's something I have. It sounds like a good opportunity. I'll have to think about it.
And Sevik?
Simply nods.
Okay. So he says, "Make no mistake. Number one, this would be a relatively compared to Starfleet Academy, dangerous mission. And we do not. If there is any." He kind of tries to think of the right words for a moment, and he says, "If there's any hesitation on your part to make said decision, I would we would rather you not go, as we do not want anyone to regret their choice, if that makes any sense.
Shoot just ask, when do you need the answer by?
Well, within next semester, when you start your next year in year 2, preferably.
Okay.
Now,
Okay then.
out of character, starting in August, whenever we do return, well, probably 60% of the people that play this game, so there's about, if everyone showed up who actually said, that they were going to play, it would probably be like nearly 20 players, but obviously that doesn't happen. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate it into 2 different, so it'll be every other Sunday will be either the Gamma Quadrant or the Starfleet Academy at San Francisco. So based on what you choose is going to be which day that you're playing, and it's going to be depends on which campus you're at. So the Gamma Quadrant folks, so basically the people that are still here, who have said, yeah, I want to go to the Gamma Quadrant. You guys have basically first pick on that. It's going to be more of a kind of day in the life, grueling kind of setting up a campus and doing things like that kind of game, rather than a training and every other game almost dying from EPS conduits exploding, which have been
essentially it's more of a hands-on type of deal.
And it's and you guys, the cadets or slash players, will be basically the people who make the decisions on the direction of the campus, the game, the tone, all that stuff. Like, things will be set up to how you guys want it set up. I will make a map of the campus, and basically you guys will approve it. Like, I want this building there, I want that there. It's basically going to be y'all's sandbox to create. That's the out of character, thing that's happening. In character,
literally city skylines.
Sure.
The biggest question on it for me though is, what game is playing on what day?
So it's still going to be Sunday. It's just going to be every other Sunday, and it's going to be whatever. Let's look at August calendar. So the first Sunday is on the 7th, so that will be Starfleet Academy San Francisco campus proper. And then the 14th will be the Gamma Quadrant one. So
yeah, I'm up for Gamma Quadrant. I'm good to go for that.
Okay.
Let's go.
So, and the other...
Since it's on Sunday and that's one of my free days, I'm good with that.
Okay. And the other big reason I'm doing it is because there's not a whole lot of reasons for Gamma Quadrant or Delta Quadrant or alien species to join Starfleet, but there's a whole lot of reasons why the players would want to play one of those species. So I'm basically making an actual reason for that to kind of happen. So,
which is funny because in my whole background from an isolated freaking colony, and I came here from a place that was initially being set up, didn't have everybody yet, and now I'm getting sent back to another place like that.
Well, I mean, if you want to stay at the San Francisco Academy, that's fine.
No, I just think it's hilarious that that's what's happening.
Yeah, no,
It's comically ironic.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that it makes for a lot of good role play and storytelling. Like, I hope that, because this is like, I don't know who's here has been in the military, but like when you get to a new forward operating base and when you invade another country, you have to set up a lot of shit that's just not there. Satellites and fucking digging ditches and setting up restrooms. Like, you've got to do a lot of hard work.
Or if in naval terms, then you could
out of the field. Yeah, I know all about that shit.
Yeah, so this is going to be more like that. It's going to be more day in the life, like get out there, do your job, and if you fuck up, you probably will die, because this is an untamed planet that is going to need what's the word I'm looking for? Terraforming. It's basically going to be barely breathable. Like you guys are going to be starting from scratch. So make sure you really want to do, because all the stuff you've been doing, and I think the older players know more than the newer players, but the stuff that you've been doing is stuff that's been like, I mean, you're still training, so a lot of it has, I mean, the comm shield itself has a personal force field, so the only reason some of the people have lost arms is because the comm shield was disabled or sabotaged or destroyed in some way. So once you get out there in the Gamma Quadrant, where I don't know, there may be a species that can go through comm shield force fields, it gets a lot more dangerous.
Plus, and you mentioned all the day in the life stuff, which is yes, very very interesting. You know, but once we've solved the issue of where do we send the poop, we also an important issue.
Oh yeah.
We also might presumably have to deal with sort of relations with local cultures and our neighbours.
Exactly.
Yeah, I out of character am looking forward to that. That should be very interesting. And as I said, Soth in character. Carry on.
Go on. Carry on.
Okay, Soth in character is very much doing that. Yes, extra credit. This should get me extra points. Ooh, sparkly. But also, he's very, shall we say, the slightly buccaneering element